Hi, this is Randy Lee, a technical documentation and tester and test leader. Just talking about some of the things you can do with the Hydrasynth engine. And there are things in there such as wave list editing, where you can set up 8 different waveforms in a row and then morph between them manually or automatically with either an LFO or one of the looping envelopes, so that you can go between the different waveforms. Extremely easy to do. I'm starting from a basic patch right now. So I initialize the patch just to show what's happening here. And then you go into the oscillator. Each module here, when you call it up, you can cycle through the pages. And by the way, this is an 8-voice digital synthesizer. It's basically the exact same engine that you have in the original Hydrasynth. It's just a smaller form factor. And so now, there's single mode where you can call up any one of the 219 waveforms. Those are the static versions of them that you can see. But that'll show you what I'm working with when I go into the wave scan mode. Now, wave scan mode, I can go into the wave list edit here. It just defaults with the basic saw tooth. Oh, it's not going to show me that right now. And then I can set any one of these wave shapes to any one of the 219 waves that are in the thing. We have an extra page of those on the Hydrasynth Explorer, since we only have we have a smaller form factor. There are 4 knobs instead of 8. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that first page, hold a note, and then watch how it morphs between the different waveforms in the wave list. And then really simple to set up an LFO to do that. Now I'm back to the sawtooth wave, and I have no idea what else I chose. There's some kind of a pulse wave in there. When you're in intermediate positions, like 6.0 straight up, that's that waveform. But when I'm at 6.5, that's morphed between this waveform and that waveform. So that's halfway between the two. And now, just to show you how easy it is to modulate that from an LFO, hold LFO and press, say, wave scan right there. I just set up a modulation route. I set the depth like that. And just real quick, I'm going to get back and slow down the LFO so you can see a little more easily what's happening. And then now you see it, the LFO switching between the different waveforms that are in that wave list edit. And of course, then you can use any one of the LFO waves to do that. So you could have it, you know, like a saw down, going from the first wave to the next wave, and then suddenly snapping back to the first wave. Another thing that I think is really cool to show, I'm going to go again, I'm just going to reinitialize. I'm starting from a raw patch here. So we're just getting a raw sawtooth wave. And I'm going to switch it down an octave so we can get a little bit, or 2 octaves, so I can get a very basic waveform. The Mutant Modules there have a lot of features, such as, you know, standard FM, only it's way beyond that. It's super standard. It's amazing how you can feed these things into each other. The different Mutant modules, each doing FM, can be each other's sources, if you know what carriers and modulators are. There's another mutant called Wave Stack, which basically takes the wave shape, puts 5 copies of itself. It's kind of like the super saw thing, only you're not limited to the sawtooth. You can use any one of the 219 waves. It's a way of getting a detuned sound very easily with only using 1 oscillator. Very lush sound. And imagine doing that on oscillators 1 and 2. You can see the oscillator 3 doesn't have mutants, but these have 2 mutants in a row. The next thing I would show, well, that's standard oscillator sync, standard pulse width modulation, kind of a time compressed pulse width modulation, but this is the one I want to show you. It's so cool that we named it after ourselves. Pulse width ASM, Ashun Sound Machines, and what it does is it allows you to target different areas of the waveform with FM, so you can do frequency modulation of 1/8 of the waveform. So now it's a little tricky holding it down. I'm going to hold this one down and I'm going to grab the knob here, put the microphone down. Right now I'm warping the second of the 8 segments in the waveform. I'm going to switch to the next page. Now I'm warping segments 2 and 7 within the sawtooth waveform. That's the sawtooth waveform, basically. If I exit and I just take the dry wet down, you'll see that's just the sawtooth wave again. Now I'm going to bring in the wet mix of the Mutant module. And now you can start seeing what happens. And again, I can sit here, I can route an LFO, LFO2 if I want to modulate that. You can see that pulse width modulation of those 2 segments of the waveform happening. It's actually FM, as I said, being brought in and out by LFO2. Anyway, those are just a few of my favorite features for sound design. Just dealing with one oscillator from an initialized patch there, you can do that with 2 of the oscillators and then cross-modulate them and just do amazing things. So it's a very powerful synthesizer. Hold shift and then switch between the raw waveforms, but then intermediate positions. Change between them. Now, set up LFO1, wave scan, change the depth. Slow down the LFO. Go to AshunSoundMachines.com, and you can also find us on YouTube channels and on the a lot of social media platforms as well to look for tutorials and those sorts of things. You can also download the manual from AshunSoundMachines.com/downloads, and then the manuals are available for each of the products, the Deluxe and the Hydrasynth, the desktop. They are one manual, and then for the Explorer. And then if you get the online version of those manuals, they're cross-linked, so you often can click the link and go to exactly the section that's related to the thing that you're reading about. Thanks for listening.